Hello, and welcome to Emotional Memory. This is a really important unit that's going to shape the way that you think and interact with your loved one with dementia. Now, what is emotional memory? It's kind of a hard thing to explain, but I think there's a quote by Maya Angelou that really helps describe it. She said, "People will not remember what you said, they will not remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel." And that's no more true than with people with dementia. I want to tell you about a story done by the University of Iowa, in which they took a group of people with dementia and they showed them videos, short little online videos that were intended to make them feel either happy or sad. So they showed these to 17 participants, and 5 minutes later they asked them to recall details about the videos. Most of them couldn't recall much. 4 of them could not recall a single thing, and 1 of them didn't even remember watching a video. But the interesting thing here is that 20 minutes later, they checked on these same residents, and the ones that had seen happy videos were still happy, and the ones that had seen sad videos were still sad, even though they didn't remember anything about them. So what does that mean? The conclusions of the study was that, he said, these findings indicate that persons with Alzheimer's disease can experience prolonged states of emotion that persist well beyond the patient's memory for the events that cause that emotion. The preserved emotional life evident in patients with Alzheimer's disease has important implications to their management and care and highlights the need for caretakers to foster positive emotional experiences. So what does that mean? It means that the stress of an event can long outlive the memory of it happening. So if you have a particularly difficult morning, maybe we're trying to do a shower, or got in a little argument about the meds, or maybe you're just kind of fed up, they will take that experience and still feel that angst and anxiety well beyond even remembering why. It also means that we need to be conscientious of things like the television, of news, the paper that comes, because they can, see those horrible things on the news or on the paper, and get put into a state of anxiety, and then still be locked in that long after they forgot. Every year on September 11th, we have to be really careful to not have the TVs on and news channels, because if the residents see those planes hitting the towers, one, they might not remember the event and they might think it's happening now, which is really scary, or they do remember the event and it was traumatic for them, like it was for all of us, and they get locked in that state of trauma and anxiety. Even if you do change the channel, it could be hours later and they could still be upset about it. Also, how you communicate your own actions and emotions really rub off. So, people with dementia tend to mirror emotions. So if you come in excited and happy, they're, oh, this person's excited to see me. They're happy to see me. Okay, great. What's going on? But if you're already frustrated or you're anxious or anything like that, they're going to pick up on that quickly and probably mirror that back to you. So you've got to bring your A game. You've got to approach with a smile. I'm borderline obnoxious at work. Anytime I see anybody, hey, how you doing? Like you ran into an old friend at the grocery store. Hey, how you doing? The residents, they might not remember exactly who I am, but they see me and they say, hey, okay, he's excited to see me. He knows my name. Let's see what this is about. He seems like a good person that I can trust and that I want to go with. And also use and embrace humor a lot. Try to be funny, even in stressful situations. If you can crack a joke, or if, after something's happened, you can watch a funny video, or, tell a funny story, or get them to tell a funny story, that can really help to kind of change that mood. And if necessary, you might have to just take some time and reset yourself. If it's safe to do so, you can leave the room, go wind down, do some breathing exercises that we'll talk about, listen to a favorite song, take a breather outside, any of those things to help you get your game face back on, so you're not unintentionally kind of poisoning the well in the interaction. We all have fight or flight instincts, especially people with dementia, But one of the things that we can do is we can talk ourselves down when something's not a threat. So if you pretend you're driving and somebody pulls out in front of you and you almost hit them, but you hit the brakes, and, oh, okay, avoid the accident. You get that wave of adrenaline and you're kind of amped up and excited and, a little bit worried. But after a short while, you can kind of say, okay, the car's okay, nobody got hurt, the guy's a bonehead, but, it's going to be okay. And, 15, 20 minutes later, you've kind of settled that down. Those are very high level functions in the cerebral cortex and the frontal lobe that can, rationalize and bring that back down. And those parts of the brain are often not intact in someone with Alzheimer's disease. So they get that rush of, adrenaline and get excited and they can't bring themselves back down. So they're kind of stuck in that position for, a much longer amount of time than we could have been. And they can't really analyze the threat too. If using the shower for an example, they got scared, somebody came in and tried to take their clothes and then the water was too hot and this and that. That's really, really, traumatic and scary, and there's privacy issues and things like that. So, they're going to be that elevated level for a much longer time. Even an hour later, they might not remember that they took a shower, but they're still going to be anxious. And I just want to, bring it back to that Maya Angelou quote and really try to keep this in mind when you're interacting with your loved one. They won't remember what you said, that. They won't remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. And this can be used to your advantage, or it can, be your Achilles heel. It's up to you to play it the right way and try to foster those positive experiences. Do something nice, even if you have to be the one that, does the showers and the things that are more difficult. Having a nice lunch together with music, or going to a park, or, watching a funny video, or any of those things that can make somebody feel good. You can kind of ride that wave for a longer amount of time. So just keep that in mind as you're caregiving. Try to stick in as many positive experiences as possible, and try to avoid, triggering that fight or flight response. Try to avoid negativity, bad news, all those things. All right, so that wraps up emotional memory, and that's actually the end of the mindset and philosophy module. In our next module, we're going to dig into verbal and nonverbal communication. And I really want you to keep this emotional memory in mind as we go through that, and think about how you say things and how that makes your loved one feel as we move forward. And we'll see you in the next module.